Hello traders, this is Day Trader Matt with businesswithtrading.com doing an E-mini trading room recap for the 2nd of October, Thursday, and today was a really awesome day in the markets. Today's one of those days when everything was just working. Days like this, they're very, very close to perfect days, and they don't happen very often at all. When they do, they go by fast. They usually drain a lot of energy out of me personally, but they're a lot of fun. And today was one of those days. It was just really, really fun. We shot off a couple option trades early in the option service. Very good there. We caught just about all of the trades that we saw. Missed one trade and another trade we didn't get in full position, but it was still very, very nice trading. Let's look at what happened. We made 5 trades. They were all successful and pulled 22 points out of the market. It's difficult to really beat that. It was an awesome day. And the past few weeks haven't really been that great. So when you get a day like this, you can definitely celebrate. This is the 2nd day in October. We made 3 points yesterday. Now we can add to our total, and it's just a phenomenal month so far. 2 days have gone by, and it just happens like that sometimes. And that's why I always preach that consistency. If you can make 1 point, scrape 1 point out, you're doing good. And then you have days when everything just works, the market goes in your favor. And when I say in your favor, I don't mean, you decide, I'm just going to short the market, hopefully it goes down. No, I'm saying, you look at the market, you see where it's going, you trade it, it goes in your favor, and it just keeps going, and it just looks awesome. And that's exactly what happened today. Our first trade started out as a long. We were long here, and then we added to it and took profit here. So it was a very nice first trade of the day. And the second trade was way over here. So we kind of just watched things for a little bit. Waiting to see what was going to happen, what was going to set up. Well, we took a short here, 1 contract. We were going to add to it up here. That didn't happen. And it just ran lower. Took profit down here, actually over here. And then we got long down here and took profit over here. Very quick profit. And then we watched the market chop around a little bit more. We did get long down here, and we took profit on the way up here inside of this candle. After that, we watched things again, and we got short up here. In hindsight, obviously, you're like, wow, that's the perfect short. In real time, it's much easier done. It's much easier said than done. But anyway, we got short up here, and we did take profits rather early. We were out over here in this candle, and then the market just kept going down. I was okay with that. I never try to top tick and bottom tick a market. That's not my style. That's not what I do. If I do, I guess you can argue, maybe we top tick this. I don't really view that. It did go up a little more, and we did get out over here, and the market kept coming down. But it's good to talk about, because a lot of new traders, they try to top tick and bottom tick a market, and I saw it a lot when I was a brand new trader, long time ago. And once I started getting better, I started seeking out other traders, and the majority of people in the rooms that I was at, in the different forum environments, weren't really good. Some of them were pretty decent. Some of them were pretty horrible. And then, others were kind of like a mix between the two. but they always wanted to top tick and bottom tick a market. And, if you make enough market calls, some of them are going to stick. That's what we see with analysts all the time. And when a call actually happens, somebody calls the bottom. They talk about it for days. I called this bottom tomorrow. They're going to say, I called the bottom yesterday. It's they get involved with all the television pundits and think that that's what you're supposed to do. And it's not. We get paid when we make a successful trade. It doesn't matter how you trade. It doesn't have to, look cool, quote unquote, to other people. It just has to resonate with you. No one else is going to sit over your shoulder and, look at how you trade. I guess for me they do because I'm an educator, but I chose to be. But for most of people out there, people aren't going to sit over your shoulder and look at how you trade and, talk about it. Why do you trade like this? Why don't you use that? Why don't you use this? That's what people tell me. Why don't you use this? Why don't you trade like this? And I tell them because that's not my style. That's not how I trade. I make money the way that I trade. Yeah, I don't make money every single time, and I lose money sometimes. But I know that over time, I'm going to make money, and that's what I'm going to do because my money's on the line. Why would I trade a style that I'm unfamiliar with? Why would I trade something else? Why don't I trade something that I've traded for so many years that I know what I'm doing? And that's where I'm at right now in my trading. Working with new traders, it's a lot of fun because I get to teach them things. I don't know everything about the market, and I'm not the best trader in the world, but I am good at what I do. It is what it is. But anyway, I wanted to talk about today a little bit, just show you guys what happened, what we actually went through. I thought this was interesting because we got out here, market kept going down. Look at how many points that we missed. 1928 and the market goes down. There's 1918 quarters. So almost 10 full points that we missed right there. And look right here, we got out on this bar. So the market ran from 1940.75 and we didn't enter again until 1934. So that was a pretty good move, 6 3/4 points. We did not pick that up. You don't have to be in the markets every single second of the day. That's not how trading works. That's not what you're supposed to be. As a day trader, which is what I do here with the Emini Trading. I have other services for swing trading and stuff like that. But as for day trading, it's very crucial that you understand that you do not need to be in the market every second of the day. And that's something that took me a little bit of time to understand when I was a brand new trader. When I first started trading, when I first traded the ES market, it was horrible. That's the only way to put it. It was horrible. I was in the market every single second that it was open, plus some overnight. I don't know if I slept that much. I just traded and traded and traded and traded. And it's like, wow, all that learning of how not to do something. And then once I figured out how to trade, like right now, I trade from, we'll say, about 9 o'clock in the morning until usually 11:30 to 12:30. So that's my trading time span. Every now and then I'll trade in the afternoon, but it is rare. It is very rare that I do. And that's what I do. That's what you have to do as a professional trader. Define your trading, your hours that you trade. It's not healthy to trade all the time. And that's why I started trading in the morning time, because trading every single afternoon was really starting to take a toll on me. Setting in front of the markets from 9 o'clock till 4:30, 5 o'clock was just, it's not a life that I wanted. Doing it for a few years when you're young, yeah, but once you get a little bit older, which I would say probably past like 23 or 25, you don't really want to do that anymore. And we weren't meant to sit in the chair for 8 hours, 10 hours a day. It's not healthy. It's not good for us. And plus, I know myself, I would want to be out actually having fun doing something. That's what I like. I love the markets. I definitely have a passion, but I don't want to do it for 10 hours a day, 8 hours a day. I want to be able to get out and enjoy life, and that's what trading allows me to do. I make money trading, I get to go out and enjoy life, and I get to help other people become successful traders too, and that's a lot of fun. And I learn so much from everybody that I meet, so it's, it can't get any better. But anyway, hopefully you learned something about the market. You got something out of what I was talking about today. You don't have to be in the market all the time. It's okay to miss. Well, let's not use the word miss. It's okay not to take certain trades, and it's okay to stand on the sidelines. Standing on the sidelines is probably the most important position you can take in the markets. We were long here. We got out on this candle, and we were on the sidelines, all over here, and we got long over here. And then after this, we were on the sidelines again until down here. And then we actually did flip our trade here. I don't do that very often, but sometimes I do. It's not that often. So we got short here, and then after this, we were on the sidelines again, all through here. Or actually, I think we actually closed the room around here. So but it's an important concept, so hopefully you got something out of it. You can always leave comments below the video. Thanks for watching. Have an excellent rest of your day, and I'll see you back here in the markets. Thank you.